John Boyega, as you all know, is caught up in this whole Star Wars mess again because, well, apparently, according to John Boyega, Star Wars isn't black enough. Now, apparently, existing while black in a galaxy far, far away is now a big deal. And look, I got to be honest with y'all. This whole narrative with that got John Boyega caught up in it and stuff from Kathleen Kennedy and Disney, it's basically total insane cope at this time. Now, before anybody jumps in and try to call me to call this rant from some so-called toxic fan and stuff, I'm gonna clear the air right quick. You see, most Star Wars fans, the real Star Wars fans, the ones that've been there since the beginning, not the fake corporate shills and stuff who are on formerly Twitter now X, actually loved John Boyega as Finn. Now, I got nothing against John Boyega playing this character. In fact, we wanted more, myself included, wanted more of John Boyega in Star Wars as even as a lead. And I remember when the trailers for The Force Awakens dropped and stuff. I mean, back in the last decade and stuff, who do we see first? John Boyega, stormtrooper turned hero, holding a lightsaber. And black people back then, they were even saying that Star Wars is racist for having a black stormtrooper. Now, people were hyped and stuff. John Boyega was front and center. And guess what? We thought that, John Boyega was going to be the main character. Okay. And that's not a stretch right there. That's not a head canon, if you will. That was clearly how they were selling Star Wars at the time. Okay. But then Disney, in classic Disney fashion, pulled a bait and switch. Okay. You see, they sidelined John Boyega faster than, Kathleen Kennedy could say the Force is female. Okay. Now, basically, it was a major fiasco. I mean, seriously, John Boyega and his entire character arc just got nuked, and they set him up as a stormtrooper turned Jedi. All right. And then they turned John Boyega into a comic relief. And who do they give all the development in depth to? Rey and Kylo Ren. You see, it was like watching someone slowly dying, slowly light your favorite Star Wars action figure on fire while smiling at you and telling you that it's empowering. Okay, so that's the vibe I got from that. I could be wrong. And now here we are years later, and John Boyega's out here acting like the fans are the problem. I mean, it's not our fault at all. Like, it's as if we don't support him enough, and that's the part that explodes my brain. You see, I mean, bro, we were rooting for you, but he's going on about how Star Wars is so white and how fans only accept black characters when they're the sidekick or the comic relief. And yeah, okay, I'll give you this. Star Wars has had, definitely had a lot of rough patches when it comes to diversity, especially in the original trilogy and stuff. But let's not act like there hasn't been a ton of progress and stuff across the whole Star Wars franchise, especially lately when they decided to go ahead and force diversity down our throats and stuff. You see, we also have Mace Windu, played by Samuel L. Jackson, one of the baddest Jedi to ever pick up a lightsaber. He's not some sort of tag along at all. He was a full blown Jedi master, okay, who went toe to toe with Palpatine and almost won. He didn't flinch. He didn't study. He was the definition of cool. And then there's also Leonard Calrissian, played by Billy D. Williams. That dude was so slick. He made capes look cool and stuff. And he wasn't just Han Solo's friend. You see, he led the final assault on the second Death Star. But I guess that doesn't count anymore when we're cherry picking in Star Wars history, right? And let's not also forget, the voice of Darth Vader himself, James Earl Jones, the legend, the most iconic voice in movie history, bar none. Now, when people think of Darth Vader, they think of him, not the guy in the suit, not even what's his name, who played Anakin Skywalker. Okay, Jones is Vader. So if we're seriously going to sit here, pretending black characters haven't had a major iconic role and stuff or roles in Star Wars, that's just being tone deaf right there. And it's not even a debate. You see, it's a historical fact that, and it's also Star Wars legacy. Okay, now John Boyega, I get it. He's upset, and honestly, I mean, he may have every right to be mad and stuff at Disney. they completely wasted his character, but not at the fans. But what did Disney do to Finn? That was a nightmare. See, John Boyega went from potential Jedi to a guy who screams "Right!" every 5 minutes and gets lectured by Rose Tico. That's not a character arc right there. That's a character assassination. Now, in a franchise where that should have done so much more with him, I mean, let's be honest. They wasted his character. That's what Star Wars did. But let's not pretend. Let's stop pretending that Star Wars fans are the ones who did that. You see, we didn't shrink John Boyega on the Chinese poster. We didn't hand over his story arc to some sort of side character. That was Disney. That was Kathleen Kennedy as well. That was Rian Johnson, the same guy who thought that it would be hilarious to turn Luke Skywalker into a whole jaded hermit milking alien sea cows. Now these people basically get destroyed online every time they open their mouths, and rightly so, because, well, they're the ones who wrecked Star Wars. Okay. It was them who wrecked Star Wars, not the fans. The fans didn't want this for Finn. And here's where it really gets cringe right here. The media, especially the outlets and stuff like Variety, who tried to go ahead and spin on the comments of John Boyega as saying he's bravely calling out toxic fans. That's not what he said. That's not even close. You see, John Boyega was talking about how white the franchise feels, but the whole toxic fan angle, I mean, that's Variety saying, just trying to go ahead and throw some gasoline on the fire so that way they can write 10 more clickbait articles about the Star Wars fandom. Now, they want the fandom to be divided when it comes to Star Wars. They need us at each other's throats because that's how they keep the outrage going. We shouldn't give them that kind of, victory and stuff. They use that to keep the outrage machine running by using John Boyega. It's a game, and we're the pawns and stuff. But let me tell you, Star Wars fans aren't buying it anymore. You see, people saw it through the BS. The second The Last Jedi came out. That movie was the moment where everything fell apart. The setup from The Force Awakens ignored. The promise of John Boyega's journey, that was gone. Poe turned into a hothead idiot, and Rey, well, somehow became even more perfect with no training. You see, it was like watching somebody trip over the Star Wars script and accidentally write fan fiction. Okay. As a matter of fact, that's exactly what it was, fan fiction. And then we also got Rose Tico. Now, I've got nothing against Kelly Marie Tran as a person. I mean, I really don't. But let's be honest here. The character of Rose Tico was insufferable, just badly written, badly executed, and totally unnecessary. They had no idea what to do with Finn, so basically they threw in Rose to go ahead and put him in his place, okay? And then in The Rise of Skywalker, they just drop her like she never even mattered. I mean, it's like, what was the point at that? I mean, why even bother? Just that's the Disney playbook in Star Wars right now. But somehow this all loops back to racism. Okay. Somehow the people who were disappointed with what Disney did to Finn and Poe and even Rey were the problem. And apparently the fans are the racists. But meanwhile, it's the studio that's bending the knee to China, scrubbing John Boyega from marketing, as well as treating diverse characters like accessories instead of just actual people. But I mean, hey, blame the fans, right? Classic corporate cope. That's how they ruin Star Wars as well as other franchises. They go ahead, scapegoat the fans instead of owning their own failures and taking accountability. I mean, it's not surprising, but at the same time, it's honestly exhausting. Now, every time a new Star Wars show comes out or a movie comes out, I mean, it's like we have to go through this all over again. And somebody says something dumb, the media blows it up, and suddenly the fans are being called, every instant phobic in book names for not liking what Disney did. It's a big meltdown every time, and at some point, we've got to stop and ask who's really responsible here, the fans or the company that made it? Because I can promise you, the average Star Wars fan, I mean, this time it was done by using John Boyega as their pawn. We just wanted a good story. We wanted to see John Boyega become a Jedi and stuff. Most of us wanted to see John Boyega as the lead instead of Rey. We wanted to see Poe lead the resistance. We wanted to see Rey go through actual struggle and stuff and growth. But instead, we just got a basic shallow checklist of diversity with no heart, no soul, not even natural diversity while at that, and no payoff. You see, Star Wars became a brand checklist instead of a story-driven saga. And now we're being told that even during this point out this problem, this things is somehow problematic. I mean, miss me with that nonsense. This is not about gatekeeping. It's about Star Wars being handled with respect. Okay, in this case, with the lack of thereof. Now, you want to talk about characters that were done dirty? How about every character that wasn't Rey or Kylo? Finn, played by John Boyega, was sidelined. Poe reduced to a hothead flyboy. Luke humiliated. Leia barely even there. Han killed off like a chump. I mean, that's not diversity right there. That's a franchise that in crisis. That's a meltdown at every level of writing, direction, and even management. Okay, but then again, I mean, that's Star Wars in the Disney era. That's Disney Star Wars right there. But look, I don't hate John Boyega. I don't have him in my heart to hate anybody. I really don't. I mean, he seems like a decent guy who basically got caught up in the corporate meat grinder. Okay, but I wish John Boyega would actually point the finger where it actually belongs, which is at Disney. I mean, not the fans, because the fans wanted him to win. You see, we were with John Boyega. Okay, we were cheering for John Boyega to become the lead and the Jedi. He was the one they teased as the lead, and when they pulled the rug out from under him, we were mad with him. The fans were Star Wars' biggest asset, and Disney just basically treated them like dirt. But now it seems to me that John Boyega has turned around and blamed the people who had his back, and that, I mean, honestly, that's a real disappointment. I mean, but it doesn't fix what happened. You see, it just fuels the divide and deepens the mess that Star Wars has become. Okay, and that's actually saying quite a lot. So, yeah, Star Wars isn't too white. It's just too tone deaf, too corporate. You know, too busy chasing hashtags and diversity points instead of just simply telling meaningful stories with great characters. And if they actually have followed through on John Boyega's character arc, the stormtrooper turned Jedi hero, mentored by Luke, redeeming the legacy of the clones and stuff, I mean, let's be honest, that would have been epic. Okay, that would have meant something and stuff. It could have been the boldest thing that, you know, Star Wars ever did. But did we get that? Obviously not. But nah, they just simply gave John Boyega a mop bucket and a love interest who tased him for trying to sacrifice himself. Okay, total downgrade, another wasted opportunity in modern Star Wars. Okay, but yeah, anyways, Star Wars didn't fail because of racism, didn't fail because of the fans. It fell because of too much corporate mismanagement, too much lazy writing, and treating fans like trash. I mean, obviously that's the truth. And if you don't like it, well, that's on you. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel, smash the like button in this video, turn on the bell for notifications, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, peace.